Howdy, partner. Today we're going to go over how to rustle up one of these here Fasolasuchuses. Alright, no, seriously, we're going to get into taming, how to tame the Fasolasuchus, what its abilities are, what it can do, and a few tips and tricks you'll need to know to tame them. So some of the things you're going to need are going to be explosives, because you need explosives to tame them, right? You can use C4, rockets, or grenades. I prefer grenades. They're cheap, they're easy. If there's a lightning storm, you can still use them. Right, then of course you're going to want your water. You're going to want to wear ghillie. So I have skins on here, but this is ghillie. And then you're going to want cactus broth. You could also do some Callian soup and maybe some bug spray, but those aren't necessary. Bug spray would keep mantises and other things like that from aggroing you, other bugs. Cactus broth, though, what it does is it gives you a higher heat resistance. So our heat resistance is 259 right now because of I have 38 fortitude and wearing a full set of ghillie. Alright, now ghillie works better than desert cloth. Okay, so we'll consume this and we go up to 327. So now we got a lot more heat resist. This also reduces the amount of water that drains, our water drain over time. And it hides us from wild dinos, just like ghillie, which will allow us to get closer to the Fasolo before it detects us, which is essential in this. The next thing you're going to want is something like an RG or a Thylo, something that can have a lot of hit points that can follow you around so that you can be on passive and take some damage, unless you have a buddy with you that can follow you around and pick you whenever you get kicked off the Fasolo, because you're going to get kicked off the Fasolo. Especially your first couple times of taming one. Right, but the RG is great because it will follow you, and if it gets hit by something, usually it'll fly up high, out of its reach, and only take maybe a hit or two before it gets away from it. While you're running while it's following you. Of course, if it's a Rex, that might not be the case, but... Alright, so the next thing you're going to know is where can you find the Fasolo at? Well, let's show you real quick here. We'll use our mod, our Dino Finder mod here, and it will show us where some of them are at. I believe it's only going to show us where the ones close to us are, but I'll go ahead and do that. And yeah, so it'll only show the ones that are close to us. But if you notice, they're all out here in the dunes. And if you keep going around, they are everywhere out here. You can't go into the dunes without running into one of them. There are so many. I think they may be overspawning right now. Just to let players have a chance of getting some. Maybe even a good one. As you notice, none of these are very high level. This is a canon map, so, well, there's a 110. So getting high levels is going to be kind of rare. Alright, but as many that are spawning, you might have a better chance of killing them off and finding more. But yeah, on canon maps, high levels are rare. So anything over 100, you definitely want to grab. Right, so as you can see, we've already run into a Fasolo and just kind of flying out into the dunes here. And so one thing you may want to do is aggro them closer to where rocks are at. So as you can see, there aren't a whole lot of rocks nearby, and if we start the taming process without any breakable rocks nearby, we may have a hard time taming this guy. So we're going to go down and try and drag him to those rocks. They can, oh, there we go, tail whip. So it's kind of like throwing poop on me. Just messed up my vision a little bit. Come on. Follow me, bud. Now, if you remember, there are Rexes nearby, so we might not want to go this way. We don't want to fight any Rexes. Ah! Throwing poop on me. Okay. Not really, he's hitting me with rocks, but the same effect. As you can see, they're very easy to de-aggro. So you get in the fall, you might be a little tricky, but once you think you're close enough, let's see if I see any rocks at all. And while I was not doing that, it de-aggro, it wasn't aggro anything, so it went into its buried form, which sets it up as a mound there. So you can see it's kind of a mound when it's buried. And that's a lot of wind. Do we have a storm coming? I hope not. Okay, so what you want to do is for your RG or whatever's going to be following you, you want to put them on, you want to go access their behavior, and you want to change the follow distance to high. That way they don't just immediately follow you to the Fasolo while you're trying to tame it. Okay, so you can use C4, but you have to get really close to use C4 to hit it, and you're kind of in the C4 blast range as well. You can also use rockets and chase the rocket in, but if you don't time it just right, you also hit yourself. Grenades are the best because you can use them during lightning storms. and they're easier to time. Just kind of throw it in there, then you can run up on it and it doesn't do as much damage to you. And there you go. It's done. We get on him by hitting ride, which is just going to be like E on the keyboard and the top face button on the controller, or Y. And once you get going, you can see we have 2 bars, control and torpidity, and control is reducing. The only way to build control back up is to run into rocks, and that also builds up torpidity. So you notice the RG is following us, so that's good. He'll hit a rock. Now you'll notice when he hits a rock, he starts doing a circle. Now he can either go left or right when he does a circle. It's not always going to be the same direction. Alright, but our torpidity is increasing. And we have our control goes up as well. Oh, there we go, we hit a rock. Okay. You can hit other things that aren't rocks and you'll kind of do the growl and spin. Which can be a problem if you didn't hit a rock. So we need to find rocks. Alright, clear all the rocks out of this area. If that control bar hits 0, you get kicked off. Alright, a couple of other events that can get you kicked off is if you run. There we go. So if you run into objects that he can't go through. Come on, RG, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh no, I fell. Oh no, don't bite me. Don't bite me. Ow. Oh, Rex is getting involved. Things are going wrong, so yeah. Hopefully the Rex doesn't want to fight the Fasalo. Hopefully it's like a wyvern. Oh good, the Rex just wants to fight us, not the wild Fasalo, so that works. And the question is, will the Fasalo want to fight the Rex? Alright, we already de-aggroed the Rex, and we'll just keep flying away to de-aggro the Fasalo. And hopefully it doesn't aggro onto other things, and we can restart the tame. So yeah, so as you saw, it popped out of the ground because we ran into the that water well there. So there's different objects in the game that can kick you out of the taming. Alright, well this Rex might make this a little more difficult. Alright, so you can see this ledge here. If we were to get up on this ledge and then pop off that way, that would kick us off the Fasalo. If we were to run into a wall on the other side of it, if we were to come this way and run into a wall like this, that'll also kick us off the Fasalo. Whoa! Alright, so the Fasalo is still wandering around, still waiting to decide if he's going to go underground or not. There we go, it's burying. Give it a second. You wait till the mound pops up. Now, technically, I've hit it while it's swimming underground and moving around, and it still let me stun it, but I wasn't able to actually get on it. I'll eat my soup. But if you're fast, you might be able to. That's the thing, though. You got to be real careful because you have to be fast. As soon as I might have missed. As soon as you stun it, you got to get on and start riding. You only have a few moments before you can no longer mount it. All right, you only have a few seconds. I guess somewhere like 2 to 3 seconds. It's really, really short. So if you're using rockets or C4 and you're staying out of the blast radius, you may not have time to sprint up and get on the Fasalo. So you notice our torpidity is building real slow as we hit rocks. We're near a ledge, so we need to be real careful because he'll pop us. But yeah, if he jumps off that ledge, we need to get out of here, but not run any more rocks before it messes us up. Alright, and what we're doing is we're trying to knock the Fasalo out, and the only way to knock these guys out is to run, or at least the proper way to do it is to ram into rocks. There might be a better way to do it, and when we say ram into rocks, it has to be the farmable rocks, the rocks that you break when you hit them. Okay, it can't be structured, permanent parts of the Scorched. Those are not actual rocks, those have the same code, you know, as a wall does, so. Okay, so while I'm swimming around in these rocks, we'll go over a few issues that can happen besides getting popped off the Fasalo, which is why we have the RG following us, so we can get on the RG and get away. If you don't have high enough stamina, you won't be able to outrun them. I think about 150 stamina is what you would need to outrun them. You are fast enough to outrun a Fasalo, luckily. So if you didn't want a dinosaur following you, you could just pump up your stamina so you can just outrun them. But with everything else that goes on in Scorched and all the other creatures on Scorched, it's a lot safer to have a dino with you. Especially something like an RG. Oh no. Oh, well, that wasn't a ledge, but it almost looked like it almost fell. Almost kicked me off. It was just a small drop. That's a ledge there with rocks on top, which is a bait, because if you go hit those rocks, you're going to get kicked off. So there's some nice rocks right up there on those too, but if we hit it, he might turn and get kicked off. Might not have a choice. We're running pretty low. I don't see any rocks ahead. Alright, well, we'll tag one and hope we don't spin that direction. Oh, no, 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 stop spinning. Stop spinning. Oh, so many rocks. Don't go off the ledge. Don't go off the... Oh, no, went off the ledge. Off the ledge. And I'm stuck in the corner with it. Okay. Alright, the good news is, while this is going on, where's my RG? Let him go. That the torpor I built up will stay built up. It'll drain. Of course, it will drain over time, just like all torpor will. But it drains slow, so we have time. So as long as it doesn't aggro too many other things, and doesn't spend too much time fighting, we'll be able to recover a lot of that. We won't lose too much of our progress. So one thing to note is while you can't hit them with explosives to get them unburied. If kind of experience note. If they're unburied when you hit them with an explosive, it will do massive damage to them. You can end up killing them, so be careful with that. Alright, if I didn't already tell you, to control them, you use the camera to move their direction they're going, but when they hit something, of course, they spin for a minute, and then it takes them a minute, and they kind of turn really wide, so it takes them a little bit to get back on track. So it can be easy to get kicked off of these guys actually running into something you don't want to. Alright, now while this one's level 15, you can see how slow its torp is building up as we're hitting a bunch of rocks. This is just to get it knocked out, right? Once it's knocked out, then we have to feed tame it, as just pretty much every other dinosaur when you knock them out. Right, and so this is level 15. It probably has close to 3,000 torpor. But let's say it was level 150, it would have closer to 17 to like somewhere between like 13 to 20,000 torpor. Alright, that's really rough. Because the torpor you get from hitting a rock is not percent based, it's a flat torpor. So you have to hit a lot more rocks with a level 150 to knock it out. So one thing to keep in mind is while traveling with the Fasalo, and you see even trees kind of send him off direction a little bit when he runs into them, so but they don't build up the control or torpor, so be careful about that as well. Alright, but you want to pay attention to the area you're going to be in when the torpor fully fills up, because if you're too close to something that might attack the aggro the Fasalo or aggro you while you're next to the Fasalo, it becomes a problem. Alright, you'll lose, if your Fasalo gets hit once it's knocked out, you'll lose taming effectiveness, which after you spent all this time bouncing across rocks, getting kicked off, and getting back on, and bouncing across more rocks, you're not going to be happy about having to let it wake up to get your best levels possible. Right, and you may be wondering, does the size of the rock matter when you run in? The size of the rock you're running into matter? No, it doesn't. It may seem that way, because when you run into some large rocks, usually there's lots of little rocks all around it, even ones you can't see in the mesh, and your Fasalo will run into all of them at once, and its torpidity will go up a bunch, and so it seems like it, but all the rocks pretty much give the same torpor. Doesn't matter their size. And if possible, avoid tree areas. Like this area is working okay, but the trees are kind of messing it up and slowing it down quite a bit. If there were less rocks in here, we'd be in some trouble because the trees send us off in different directions as well. A few things to note: when taming the Fasalo, a couple of things can go wrong. You can get a sandstorm. That'd be what's horrible. It drains your stamina to nothing. It slows your dino down a whole lot. And then their stamina can't recover in the sandstorm either. Oh no, I hit a tree. I guess some trees will kick you off. It couldn't break that tree, so it kicked me off the Fasalo. I was going over the sandstorm. RG, okay, keep up, RG. What are you doing? Catch up. My RG is not behaving correctly. I'm gonna get eaten. It's getting stuck on the Fasalo. There we go. The Fasalo had to slow down the tail whip. Come on, RG. Let's go. Go up, 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 up. So de-aggros, this was a good decent area. So just get up high where it can't fight us anymore, and it'll de-aggro just like Gigas and everything else when you get too far away from them. So it doesn't seem like there's too much for it to fight here, so it should go back. Alright, so if you get kicked off of this guy during a sandstorm, you're pretty much dead. But if you think a sandstorm is going to happen, you can bring a tent with you. to prepare so you can hide in the tent during a sandstorm. Once you get far enough away from the Fasalo, it won't aggro you, but you will lose most of its rapidity before the storm ends, but not a lot you can do about that. A couple of more things you can't do anything about: the heat wave, right? When the heat wave comes, you're on the Fasalo, you're just going to overheat, and you'll eventually die. Your vision will go crazy. You won't be able to, you may not even be able to see where the Fasalo is going anymore. There's too many trees in this area. Oh no! And then can't see where you're going. You'll end up getting kicked off. And let me tell you, the heat wave will kill you. You'll drain your health even when you're wearing decent ghillie and have a Callian soup and cactus route going on. The only real thing to do is wear hazmat, but that's not out yet. And then of course there's the lightning storm. If you're using a rocket launcher, the lightning storm will disable your ability to hit it with a rocket launcher while it's going on. And there are a lot of rocks right there. That'd been a great place to get them knocked out, but there's too many critters right there. It wouldn't work out very well. Hopefully they're not chasing the RG. There we go. We can do it here. Oh, there's still a lot of critters, but maybe they'll chase me and not the Fasalo. We just immediately run from the Fasalo when we get knocked. When he gets knocked out, it should be alright. And then we can go over the Fasalo's favorite foods. After my RG already. Okay, and it's out. Get away from him so it doesn't get bitten. Where RG? Alright, once you've cleared out all the dangerous things around the Fasalo, once you've knocked it out, or even before, if you can do it without getting aggroed, drop dino gates around the Fasalo to protect it. Alright, if you kill something, clear the body, because if you don't, you're probably going to get a bunch of vultures coming over, which will cause even more of a headache and potentially ruin your tame. Alright, once you have them knocked out, we can go over these steps here. You can, as you see, the torpidity is draining. The good news is you can use narcotics and narco berries to increase that timer there, so you can keep it asleep, so you don't have to let it wake up and run it back into rocks to knock it back out to finish taming. So another thing to know when taming, or even in Ark in general, dinosaurs migrate toward you. Alright, so they slowly start migrating towards you, so if they don't look like they're going to be an issue, they will be. And also dinos will start spawning in areas that you're in, which will create even more problems, so you're definitely going to want to build a barrier around your Fasalo. Right, now as far as the food it eats, if you're just starting out, you don't have kibble yet, you're going to want to do mutton. Right, you're going to want to put mutton in it. Level 15 will take quite a bit. I think a level 150 would take somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours before it's ready to tame on mutton. I could be wrong about that time. It's just based on how long it takes to tame level 15 on boosted stats. Right, and then you're going to want to use, if you have kibble, you're going to use kibble. Now the question is it extraordinary or exceptional kibble that it can use? Right, so that's what we're going to find out. So it ate that. Oh yeah. So it can definitely be tamed off of exceptional kibble. The top kibble in the game can be made by just stealing wyvern eggs and using those, or taming Uties and using those. So you can get those pretty quickly on Scorched Earth, just by going through and stealing wyvern eggs. Alright, let's jump into the Fasolasuchus' abilities. Alright, so over land, the Fasolasuchus is not super fast, but he does have a debris whip when on land, which you can use to by pulling the left trigger or hitting right click. By hitting the right click or pulling the left trigger, you can use the debris whip. Right, and that just basically puts the little stuff on the enemy player's camera. I haven't seen it do anything else beyond that. And then if you hit the jump button, you can now swim under the sand. So you're not quite under the sand. You're still... certain dinosaurs will still aggro you. And can still hit you. And you're still visible. So you're not really... You're just kind of swimming partially under the sand. Alright, and then when you're here, you can hit right click or left trigger to create your whirlwind, kind of whirlpool sand thing here. And what this does is basically holds anything that walks on foot, other than like Fasolos. This works on Rexes. Alright, so it should work on Uties as well. It'll work on Scorpions, things like that. And it holds them in place into the ground. You're basically stunned while you're doing this to them. The problem is, or rooted, I guess I should say rooted, not stunned, because a Rex can still attack you. And if you get hit while doing this, so players, this is your counter. If someone starts doing this to you, hit the Fasolasuchus, it interrupts it and makes it stop the sandstorm. Of course, when you're out of stamina, you'll pop back up out of the ground and your sand whirlpool will stop as well. Alright, so when you attack a Fasalo or a Fasalo attacks you, it has spikes on it that put out this toxin, and your bite also puts out this toxin as well. So as you bite somebody from a Fasalo, it applies this toxin. You can see it on the Carno there. And as he bites me, it also gets that debuff, and it's a debuff. Alright, and it builds up. Oh, it builds up a little at a time. It reduces armor by 25%. So if somebody had 100 armor saddle, you could reduce its effectiveness by 25%, dropping into essentially a 75 armor saddle. So while the Fasalo itself is not super strong, it is a great support dinosaur. Okay, another thing the Fasalo can do is it can collect flint from stone if you prefer to do that, instead of grinding flint from stone. Alright, so if you don't want to take the Doed around with an RG and collecting a bunch of stone that way, you can take your Fasalo out and just kind of glide through stone like this and get a decent amount of flint. So the dossier makes it sound like the Fasalo would be good at fighting deathworms. I took a level 230 Fasalo up against a deathworm and it pretty much lost. Got devastated. Alright. So they're not great at fighting deathworms. And I know 230 is not super high, but a level 90, if you tame a wild level 90 Megatherium, grab a bug buff and fight the deathworm, you pretty much annihilate the deathworm. Alright, so this like something like a level 110 or 120 Megatherium after tame, right? So, and it just annihilates the deathworm, and then after beating the first deathworm, you have a whole bunch of levels to put into the Megatherium, and then it just continues annihilating future deathworms. While the Fasalo is a neat dinosaur, it's definitely not overwhelming in any way, and it won't be changing the meta anytime soon. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.